Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another waiver wire episode. This is the waiver wire episode for week 6. This is the episode where I tell you guys which players you should consider adding to your specific fantasy hockey team to help you win week 6. Whether they're streamers or guys that you can consider adding long term, they're all found in this video. Before I jump into it though, guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you are subscribed and you want to take your support to the next level, do consider checking out my Patreon. The link is in the description below. If you join my Patreon, you get specific perks like being able to DM me, get one-on-one messaging with me, and with the highest tier, actually get to have a one-on-one video call every single month to go over your team and what you think you should do with it. Without further ado, let's jump into the content now and let's take a look at the schedule for week 6. And on Monday, there are just 2 games. On Tuesday, there are 9. On Wednesday, there are 4. Thursday, 9 as well. Friday, 3. Saturday, 13. Quite a busy night. And then Sunday, 5. So as usual, guys, your off days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Those are the days with the least amount of games. But go ahead and check your lineup. Maybe you have room for players on Tuesday and Thursday anyway. They're busy nights, but they're not crazy busy. So go ahead and check your schedule. See if you do actually have to prioritize players playing on the off nights. Because if you have room on Tuesday and Thursdays, there's not really a reason to add a player just for the off nights when you have room on pretty much all the nights anyway. Odds are, though, you're going to need to prioritize those off nights. And the number 1 schedule this week is the Anaheim Ducks, who play on the Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday off nights. They also play on Tuesday. So it's a really good schedule for them. 4 games, 3 of them off nights. So go ahead and add Anaheim Ducks this week if there are some good ones available on your waiver wire. The other teams with the best schedules are the Islanders and the Seattle Kraken, which play 4 total games and both have Monday, Wednesday off nights, which are really nice. And there's the Buffalo Sabres, the Colorado Avalanche, the Edmonton Oilers, and the Philadelphia Flyers, who have 3 total games and 2 off nights as well. This week, there are quite a few teams with a bad schedule. I'm not exactly sure why there are so many teams that don't play a lot this week, but there are. But there's one team in particular that really has a bad schedule, and that is the New York Rangers. They only play on Saturday. It's not a great schedule for them, unfortunately. So if you have some lower-owned Rangers, you might want to consider dropping them for the week because they're going to be doing absolutely nothing for you. And there are 11 teams that only play 2 games this week. Those teams are Boston, Carolina, Dallas, Detroit, Los Angeles, Minnesota, Nashville, Ottawa, San Jose, Toronto, and Washington. All right, guys, let's jump into some forward options now. And the first guy I have on the list at 62% rostered is Troy Terry. Not only has he been really hot as of late, he plays on the top line and top power play in Anaheim, so that production is sustainable. He's their best forward in my opinion, and Anaheim has a beautiful off-night schedule this week. He is by far the best add this week if he is available on your waiver wire. Go ahead and add him if you are in a shallow league where he is available. Next, Matthew Barzal is a really good add. He's been doing really well this year, and he's playing on that top line with Horvat and Wahlstrom, as well as the top power play. As long as he's playing with Horvat, this guy has plenty of fantasy value, and for those Monday and Wednesday off nights that New York has, he's a very, very good ad. Brian Rust is another great ad. He's playing on the top line, Crosby and Gensel, with just great deployment, and he's having a nice bounce back year this year. Next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Valeri Nichushkin. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIP. Guys, that Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is amazing. I promise you, you've never seen a ball trimmer look like a spaceship. Get yours today. Finally, guys, it's time to add Valeri Nichushkin. You guys know how high I was on Nichushkin to start the year, and he didn't start off so great. Decided to not give him any top power play time at all. Well, unfortunately, Lehkonen got injured last night. But Lehkonen's bad news is very good news for Nichushkin. After Lehkonen got injured, Nichushkin got promoted to the top line with McKinnon and Rantanen and was also playing on the top power play. those lines should stick, or at the very least, he'll stick on that top power play, and that gives him a tremendous amount of value, more than he had, and he's already got 2 points in his last 2 games. He's starting to heat up, guys, and now is the time to add him. On top of that, Colorado has those Monday and Wednesday off nights. Now is the perfect time to add Valeri Nichushkin. Next is Quinton Byfield of the Los Angeles Kings, and I didn't add him here because I think he's a particularly great add for this week since he only plays twice. Not until Thursday either, but you can wait until Thursday to add him, and then you get him for Thursday and Saturday. If you have room those days, not a bad add. Quinton Byfield is playing on the top line with Kempe and Kopitar, and he has been really producing as of late, showing why he was a second overall pick a few years ago. He's looking really, really good. Obviously, the peripherals aren't really there, but if he keeps putting up points like this, he's definitely going to have some fantasy value. Next, I have Nick Paul of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Nick Paul, even if you're in a deeper league, might have become available because he's been dropped quite a bit recently. Yeah, he's pretty streaky. However, he's still top power play with the likes of Kucherov, Point, and Stamkos, and he is playing on the second line with Stamkos as well. So the deployment is really, really good, and he's a pretty decent player. So even though he's streaky, he could explode on any given night, which is why he might be worth a spot on your roster this week, in a week where Tampa Bay actually plays 3 games. Then I have Nick Schmaltz of the Arizona Coyotes, top line with Clayton Keller, top power play, been producing pretty much all year. The dude is really, really good. I love Nick Schmaltz. You guys have heard me hype him up for the past couple of off seasons, and he's had some pretty good years. He should be owned in more than 37% of leagues. Much like Nick Paul in Tampa Bay, Arizona does play on the busy nights, but they do play 3 games. So if you have room on the busy nights, do not hesitate to add Nick Schmaltz. He's a very good add. Sean Monahan's another guy who plays on the 3 busy nights, but he's on a 7-game point streak right now. He's looking really freaking good, playing second line center as well as top power play in Montreal. And the points just keep on coming for Monahan. He's been super consistent. If you want that on your team, it's a very, very good add. Jaden Schwartz has been next level hot lately. I don't expect it to last the whole season. He's probably going to be a drop at some point, but the way he's playing, you need to be adding him right now. Then I got Ryan Strome of the Anaheim Ducks, 32% rostered, and I know he's gotten kind of ice cold since his super hot streak, but on a week that Anaheim has a really good schedule, it might be worth streaming Ryan Strome, see if him, Vatrano, and McTavish can rekindle that chemistry and go off again. If there's no better Ducks available, Ryan Strome might be worth a dart throw this week. So unlike Jaden Schwartz, Oliver Bjorkstrand, the next guy on my list, is not playing on the second line and is not even on the top power play. However, he's been super consistent all year long. He's been really good playing on the third line right now with Tolvanen and Gord as well as the second power play. The deployment doesn't seem to matter because he is producing and has been doing so all year. Really like Oliver Bjorkstrand, and they've got a nice Monday and Wednesday off night schedule this week. Then Ryan Johansson is centering the second line in Colorado as well as getting top power play time. He's gone kind of cold lately, but he is still getting top power play time, so I don't mind that add at all, especially for those Monday and Wednesday off nights. Then Marco Rossi, who as of this recording has been a huge disappointment this week. He's only played 2 games, has only gotten 1 shot on goal through those 2 games, and that's all the peripherals that he has. He is playing top line with Kaprizov and top power play with Kaprizov, and just hasn't done anything just yet. However, the previous games before this week, he was doing really, really good, so I still have some hope. So hopefully on the Friday night that I'm recording this and the Saturday, he goes off and can show you why you guys picked him up for this week. If he goes off, I wouldn't pick him up right away for next week because the Wild don't play until Saturday. But if you do want to pick him up right before that Saturday game, they do play Saturday and Sunday, so he could be a good back-to-back streamer for next weekend and possibly a hold as well. Then Alex Iafallo is playing top power play and top line with red-hot Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor. That's a great place for him to be right now. And as long as that line is insanely hot like they are right now, Alex Iafallo is a great add. Then I have Eli Tolvanen, who is a top 150 player in most league types. He is doing really, really well, playing on that third line with Bjorkstrand, who's been really consistent, remember, and is getting power play time as well. Eli Tolvanen is a great streamer for those Monday and Wednesday game and is one that I'm probably going to be streaming myself. Then I have Matias Maccelli, and I don't know what this guy has to do to get a little bit more recognized. He just came off a 9-game point streak where he recorded 10 points in 9 games. Without a single game not recording a point. Like, that's freaking fantastic. Obviously, he's not putting up a whole lot of peripherals, but if you're in like a pure points league or something like that, Maccelli is an incredibly good ad. And he's getting plenty of good opportunities playing second line with Bukestad and Krause, and he's going to continue doing well. He did really well last year, was really under the radar, and is definitely someone you can consider adding if you're in a deep league. Kyle Palmieri is someone that I like to add as well for those Monday and Wednesday off nights if you're in a deeper league. He's playing on the second line with Brock Nelson and Anders Lee, which is definitely not a bad deployment, and he's also getting top power play time. And over the course of this season, he's actually been pretty good. He has gone a little bit cold over the past 3 or 4 games, but overall, Palmieri is one of the best Islanders players and definitely deserves to be added for that back-to-back set if there is nobody that I already mentioned available. Then Adam Henrique is another really good ad for this week for those Anaheim off nights, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Adam Henrique's a guy who's been kind of shifting between the top line and the third line, but either way, he's been producing and he's getting second power play time. He doesn't really need the crazy good deployment to get points because he's actually a really good player who's super underrated. Don't mind him. He's actually someone who I recommended for this weekend as well because he had those Friday and Sunday night games. So if you already streamed Adam Henrique, hang on to him for next week. He's going to be a pretty good streamer for those off nights. And then Luke Evangelista of the Nashville Predators is someone who just recently had 8 points in 8 games. Right, just like Maccelli, he doesn't have that many peripherals. However, he's getting top power play deployment with Philip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly, as well as Roman Josi, and he's getting second line deployment with Thomas Novak, who is someone who's also been really good and should be added also in more leagues. The only reason Novak's not on my list this week is because the Nashville Predators don't have the best schedule. They play on Tuesday and then not again until Saturday. So you probably can wait till next week to add Luke Evangelista because his schedule just isn't very good, but he's definitely someone to keep your eye on. The dude has great deployment and is playing well this year. And finally, I put Kasperi Kapanen here. He's got 3 points in his last 5 games, got great deployment on that top line in St. Louis. And St. Louis plays 4 games this week, including the busy night on Saturday. But if you have room on the busy nights, plus Sunday night, Kasperi Kapanen could actually be a pretty good streamer for you if you're in a deep league. As far as defense go, guys, Mike Matheson, really last call here. The dude has been incredible. Last game got a goal and 2 assists for Montreal. He's been super consistent, putting up peripherals, guys. I don't know what more you want from this guy. He's ranked top 50 in most leagues. You need to be picking him up now if he's still available. Then Mackenzie Weegar, who is currently getting top power play time in Calgary, which is something he hasn't gotten in a very long time, if ever. He's putting up points. He's putting up peripherals as well. He's also a guy who I really like right now, despite Calgary being an absolute mess. Then Pavel Mintyukov is someone who I really like in Anaheim right now, putting up plenty of peripherals, putting up points very frequently, plus the Ducks have the off nights, which makes his ad even better. He's probably a last chance ad for you too if you haven't added him yet. Braden McNabb of the Vegas Golden Knights at 53% owned. It's shocking that I'm still recommending Braden McNabb at this point, but the peripherals he's putting up are really good, and he's still putting up points fairly frequently. So as long as that's happening, Braden McNabb can be added and can be held in your lineup. Then Oliver Ekman-Larsson, up to 30% rostered, is quite hot right now, playing the top power play in Florida. Add him now, guys, and then try to trade him as fast as you can, because Montour and Ekblad are probably both going to be back November 20th. So you can ride Ekman-Larsson for this week for sure if you're not going to trade him. But after that, guys, when Montour comes back, Montour is going to be that top power play guy over in Florida. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson will become a drop. Then I have Eric Gustafsson of the New York Rangers. And there's 2 asterisks right next to him because the Rangers only play 1 game, and that's only on the Saturday. So I would not add Eric Gustafsson right now if he hasn't been added yet in your league, because he's going to be just a waste of space on your roster until Saturday. But if he's still available Friday night or Saturday and then you add him, that I don't mind doing, because Adam Fox is still out for a while, and until he's back, Eric Gustafsson's that top power play guy in New York, and he has been producing. Don't mind that ad. Ivan Provorov is still doing pretty well in Columbus, up to 25% rostered. I do expect him to slow down pretty soon. But until he does, guys, he's a decent ad. And then Jared Spurgeon, who I almost made my Manscaped must-add player of the video, is down to 21% rostered. Guys, Jared Spurgeon is on the verge of coming back from his injury, and this dude is super consistent, okay? He puts up peripherals, he puts up points, he doesn't even need top power play time to do that, but he may get top power play time. They don't have Klingberg anymore, they don't have Addison anymore. He could be put on the top power play. Even if he doesn't, Jared Spurgeon is going to still put up points and peripherals. He definitely should be closer to 50 or 60% rostered than 21% rostered. So go ahead and add him if he is available in your league. Stash him on an IR spot right now, and then he'll probably come back for Minnesota's first game of the week, which is Saturday night. So not for a while, but he's going to be stashed in an IR spot, so he's not wasting space on your roster. And then when he does come back, he'll play Saturday and Sunday for you this week and could be a really, really good ad for you down the stretch. Then Caden Goulet of the Montreal Canadiens had a little bit of a rougher game more recently, but he's been putting up a crazy amount of peripherals and even some points. I definitely do not mind that ad if you're in a deeper league. And then finally, Calen Addison, only if you're in like the deepest league ever and you're really struggling for defenseman and you need a guy who's going to get you points. Calen Addison is now manning the top power play in San Jose. He didn't put up a lot of points manning the top power play in Minnesota, but maybe he can turn things around in San Jose. San Jose plays Tuesday and Thursday, so add him now for those days, and then if he stinks, you just drop him after Thursday. Jumping into goalies now, and the first guy I have on the list is Marc-Andre Fleury, who's playing a lot better than Gustafsson right now. And I do have him with an X there because the schedule is not great for Minnesota this week. They have a back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. So if he is still available, you might want to hold out grabbing him until that weekend where he will get a start. But after this week, he could continue to get the majority of the games for Minnesota. We're going to have to wait and see. Maybe Gustafsson plays a really good game and they'll go back to splitting. But for now, Fleury is a starter over there. And Antti Raanta, the Carolina Hurricanes, is kind of a must-add right now. With Frederik Andersen injured for a long time, Antti Raanta has been the one starting the games, not Kochetkov. And they also signed Halak to a PTO, which means they might actually want to play Kochetkov in the AHL. If Halak actually ends up being signed full-time, he's going to be the backup and Kochetkov is going to be sent down. So Antti Raanta is really the guy you're going to want to be looking at right now. Then Peter Mrazek of the Chicago Blackhawks, 21% rostered, has been super freaking good this year. Like, unbelievably good considering how not good the Blackhawks are. He hasn't let in more than 3 goals in a single game all season, except that one game against Colorado where he faced 41 shots. He's been very, very good and very consistent all year. And if you need a starting goalie in pretty much any type of league right now, this guy is playing well. And then Connor Ingram, the Arizona Coyotes, is splitting the starts very evenly with Vejmelka, and he's owned in way less leagues than Vejmelka right now, and he's playing just as well, so I don't mind that ad, especially if you're in a points-based league. And then Dustin Wolf is someone who I'm really looking forward to seeing how he looks, because Dustin Wolf is the best goalie prospect in the league right now, and he's going to play his first NHL game probably soon with Markstrom and Vlader struggling. He could become the starter in Calgary, so keep a very close eye on him, or add him if you can afford to. He's going to be a guy who could potentially turn the Flames season around. He's that talented. Let's see how he does. And then I have Mackenzie Blackwood, who has just won 2 games straight against Philadelphia and then against Edmonton. Played really well in both games, so he's probably going to see the majority of the starts going forward. And if you're in a points-based league where you just need a goalie who's getting you starts, Mackenzie Blackwood is definitely not a bad ad. Then Magnus Hellberg is a great ad right now as well. With Jari injured, as well as Nedeljkovic being injured, Magnus Hellberg is getting the starts, and in his first start, he looked absolutely fantastic. Magnus Hellberg is a very, very good ad until Jari gets healthy. Then Joel Hofer of the St. Louis Blues is someone to keep a close eye on right now. He started 2 of the last 3 games for St. Louis and could be taking over that crease just as I projected in the offseason. Bennington has not been that great this year, which leaves room for Hofer to really snag that starting job in St. Louis. Calvin Pickard, I'm only adding him if you're super desperate for a goalie because Stuart Skinner and Campbell have been terrible. Campbell's now in the AHL. Pickard was called up. So in all likelihood, he's going to get the next start for Edmonton. And if he plays well, he might continue to get starts for Edmonton until they trade for a goalie or do something drastic. Pickard might be a guy you're going to have to look at and grab if you're really in dire need for a goalie. And then finally, Caden Primo started last game for Montreal and had a really good game. Now, Montreal's been splitting the starts between Allen, Montembeault, and Primo, so it's really hard to know who's going to start what game. So owning any of these guys is tough right now, but if you're in an absurdly deep league, Primo might have earned himself some more starts, so he could be worth an ad. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tech.